Happy December 25th, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today, the only daily show bringing you updates, insights, and intel of MicroStrategy 7 days a week. My friends, I told you I would bring you an episode on Christmas, so Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy December 25th to those who don't. Either way, we're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to MicroStrategy. A year in review. We're going to talk about a troll that has been cited. I have some great video clips as always and so much more. But first off, remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research and listen. Here on Christmas Day, I would love a gift from you. Here's my Twitter handle right here, MicroStrategy Today. I make sure on this Twitter handle, on this X handle, to curate only the latest and greatest on MicroStrategy and all things that are related to MicroStrategy. So, of course, Bitcoin relevant stuff as well. So if you're not following me over on X, I would love it. MicroStrategy. I'll put the link right here in the show notes. But thank you in advance for those that give me this gift of a follow. Thank you. Let's move on over to the tracker, my friends. The stock price is $358. It had a nice little 7.8% surge. The S&P 500 ranking moved up 16 spots, 107 of 500. The Bitcoin price has moved up to 98,400. The Bitcoin balance is now 444,262 Bitcoin, which is a 2.12% total ownership of Bitcoin, which is obviously fantastic at an average cost of a little over 62,000. So Michael Saylor has kept stacking the cool. The Bitcoin value per share is up to $178, and the unrealized profit loss is 16 billion for a 58% return. The Bitcoin yield to date is 73%, and the quarter to date is 47%. As I mentioned briefly in the video yesterday, the actual creator of this website right here, of MSTR-tracker.com, has agreed to jump on a video with me, and we're going to record going through every one of these different features and functions of this tracker, going through all these charts, and then, of course, getting over to the new Saylor chart. So keep an eye out for that video. It's coming to you shortly. Let's talk about some news and kind of go on a little year in review. MicroStrategy goes on an $11 billion shopping spree in record Bitcoin binge. I mean, I just love reading these articles because it just is getting other people fired up who have no idea what's going on. Founder and chairman Michael Saylor gobbles up Bitcoin. MicroStrategy has almost doubled his Bitcoin holdings in the last 6 months. The software company is now part of the NASDAQ 100. I mean, so many great things have happened. Look at this chart. I mean, this is where it was back in January of 1st of 2021, and it's just moving up, up, up. And then you get to this point right here, September 19th, excuse me, and MicroStrategy says, let's go to business. Let's go down because we know what's happening coming up with the potential election, and we know what's happening with nation states, and we know what's happening with pensions when it comes to Bitcoin. We need to stack as much Bitcoin as possible, as quickly as possible, and they did it. And then the NASDAQ 100, of course, happened. And since January, the stock price has more than quintupled and is now trading at 360. Whenever you can be part of a stock that they use the word quintupled, that's a good thing for sure, my friends. All right, let me scroll down here just a little bit more. Traders and Wall Street analysts see the company stock as a proxy, which moves in lockstep with Bitcoin's rises and falls for cryptocurrency. And you and I also know that it's actually a Bitcoin leverage play. So it's a 1.5 to 2x levered play on Bitcoin, meaning it moves up a lot faster and it will move down a lot faster. So both pros and cons. I mean, actually, it's all pros because we're talking about volatility, my friends. So remember, when the volume goes, when the stock price is down, the volatility is still up, and that is good for everybody involved long term, in my opinion, in Saylor's opinion. Let's go ahead and talk about this article right here, which is MicroStrategy achieves top performance among crypto stocks this year, up 402% over the year. Oh, wow. Love that. MicroStrategy announced that the stock value increased 402% over the past year by utilizing Bitcoin as a strategic asset. It now holds approximately 440,000 Bitcoin, valued over $40 billion. And you can just see this article is all about how MicroStrategy has grown its Bitcoin stash exponentially and how its stock has over quintupled as a result. People are taking notice. Other people will be making it happen and following the Bitcoin standard and the MicroStrategy strategy. Let's talk about the troll of the house, the top angel investor. Top angel investor warns against MicroStrategy buying too much Bitcoin. Oh no, troll sighting. MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings now exceed 2%, raising concern over Bitcoin being decentralized. Jason Calacanis warns Bitcoin risks losing trust if one entity owns over 10%. This guy has no clue what he's talking about. Coping as hard as he can. He has missed out on the biggest opportunity of his lifetime. He thought it might have been Uber. That's a joke compared to what Bitcoin is going to do for investors that are staying strong here. Bitcoin's price nears 100,000 resistance despite continuing ETF outflows totaling 338.4 million. So Jason Calacanis, probably self-dubbed the world's greatest angel investor, shared his thoughts on MicroStrategy's plans to buy even more Bitcoin. First off, it's just kind of really funny. And I'm going to be sharing a tweet coming up here about this. MicroStrategy's bold plan to buy all Bitcoin. I mean, it's just comical what happens when trolls come out because they are so sad that they missed out on all of this. The company recently bought 5,262 Bitcoin for 561 million. And despite holding about 2.2% of the Bitcoin supply, the firm's recent statement about wanting the ability to issue enough shares to buy all of Bitcoin in circulation has sparked concerns. Again, a complete misrepresentation of the reality. The Bitcoin therapist steps in here. Michael Saylor says he's going to keep raising billions in cheap capital until MicroStrategy owns at least $3 trillion in Bitcoin and has a market cap of $10 trillion. A 10 trillion market cap is 120x from here. Wow. And then here comes a troll. Here comes a troll. Warning. You break the game of Bitcoin if one individual owns too much. I'm guessing that number is 10%. Again, this guy's guessing. He's clueless. He hasn't done the research. He's been sitting on his Uber laurels for years, having no idea and no relevancy. And then, he kind of is talking about this Barron's article, which we're going to get into more later, about MicroStrategy wants ability to issue enough shares to buy all the world's Bitcoin. Oh, man. And then it just kind of goes on to say that he thinks that somebody could break the game of Bitcoin because, again, he hasn't done the research. He actually thinks this is a game. He doesn't realize what Bitcoin is, that it's the future of digital capital. So he's going to miss out. He's already missed out. He's going to whine about it because that's what he does. He's a whiner. Jason, Merry Christmas. That's all I got to say. Let's talk about Merry Christmas, by the way. And this is an article that I wanted to, or a tweet that I wanted to share just because I thought it was so delightful. Merry Christmas. 100,000 feels this special. 100,000 for this special day feels right. It just feels right. And I wanted just to share this because I thought it was, number one, a cool picture, but number two, when I first looked at this, Bitcoin immediately spiked up to 99 and change. And I'm like, oh my God, it's actually going to happen. And then of course it kind of had a little spike down and who knows what's going to happen the rest of the day. But I think it'd be pretty special if we touched 100,000 today. So let's let's see if Santa can take a little break from delivering presents to, I guess he delivered the presents last night. So maybe he can be sitting back with his feet up on his desk, buying some Bitcoin today. Let's go, Santa. I wanted to read this post by Stack Hodler because I just thought that it was a great post. He always does great ones, but this one I thought was meaningful for today specifically. 2024 was year one of institutional Bitcoin, the year that Bitcoin truly established itself as a must-own asset. But 2025 will take things to a new level. The ETFs are the superhighway that allows trillions of dollars of capital to flow into Bitcoin. But the greatest ETF launch of all time is just a starter. Wall Street has taken note of the energy and excitement around BTC, and they see the massive opportunity to create a whole new suite of Bitcoin products. MicroStrategy has proven how much demand there is for structured products that offer varying degrees of Bitcoin exposure. And the growing base of hodlers is a huge untapped market for lending products done right. Once that rule changes, banks will enter the Bitcoin lending game. These products will make holding Bitcoin even more attractive and will make selling unnecessary. The largest institutions in the world are all on board. It's a massive growth opportunity for them. And now they have a supportive administration. We should expect things to accelerate in 2025. A strategic Bitcoin reserve could arrive by late January. If it includes a purchase program, then you better rethink everything you think you know about Bitcoin cycles. There will be volatility both ways, but Bitcoin being aggressively bid by the United States is a completely different asset than Bitcoin being bid by Joe Blow, who heard about it from his barber, and it will need to be repriced accordingly. We're at $100,000, and it's still the very beginning of this journey, less than 1 year after the ETF launch. You need to be bullish. You need to be optimistic. You understood this before the big guys arrived. Now it's time to reap the rewards. Congratulations, my friends. I'm really proud of you. And then this is just the Michael Saylor tweet that I kind of wanted to get into a little bit here, just because he's got a sense of humor that I really appreciate, and I hope you do too. He just tweeted, "I get all of my best ideas from Barron's." And this is the Barron's article about MicroStrategy wanting the ability to issue enough shares to buy all the world's Bitcoin, because he knows how comical it is. I mean, they got 781,000 views, just completely misleading people that don't quite get it and are maybe on their way to getting it, or maybe are not on their way to getting it. And now this is in their head. So of course, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor want to buy as much Bitcoin as they intelligently can, but we all know that that's going to be a percentage that's going to be quite small in the overall big scheme of things. The Bitcoin therapist said what he said, talking about Robert Kiyosaki: boo hoo, boo hoo. Bitcoin crybabies crying about Bitcoin prices dropping down rather than saying thank you and buying more Bitcoins. Crybabies cry, buy, 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 not cry, cry, cry. Be grateful, grow up, and buy more Bitcoin. And this guy has been around for a long time. If you ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he's inspired a lot of people to start investing in themselves, investing in products and services that have an opportunity to go up instead of just fiat that just goes down. But that's a tale for another time. Let's talk about this Punter Jeff space that he hosted. Again, this was back on December 23rd, but I wanted to repost this here because I showed it yesterday, but I'm sure a lot of people were crazy because it was Christmas Eve. So if you have some time today or tomorrow or over whatever the rest of this week/weekends, I highly recommend going to this tweet and listening to this special meeting. It's about an hour and 50 minutes long, but like from minute 3 until maybe 60 minutes is really the gold. So you can just kind of listen to that first hour. I'll put the link in the show notes, as I'm going to put every link that we talked about here today in the show notes. So go ahead, check it out. I definitely recommend it. Now we have 3 video clips I'm going to be sharing with you. Number one is a clip that's actually Michael Saylor's AI voice, just reading this little clip from an individual about these 10 billion shares from this individual, Dylan. So I'm going to share that first, so you can just see it sounds just like Michael Saylor. So again, in this world of AI, my friends, you have to doubt and then verify everything that you're hearing. A voice, a video, whatever it might be. AI is getting so good, but it's very interesting. Then there's a little clip from Bukele that I wanted to share about tax. And then Samson Mao goes to town to bring us home. So take it away, guys.
Let Saylor cook. By Dylan LeClaire. It's absolutely foolish to freak out about the authorized share increase. A few points. 1, everything Saylor and the MSTR Treasury team do is geared to benefit common shareholders. The entire KPI used by management is about adding quantifiable value per share in BTC terms. Any math where you assume 10 billion share dilution today is needlessly stupid. 2, the authorized share count limit is a threshold that shareholders have to approve to raise. Many pubcos in the US have a massive authorized share count, so they just never have to call another extraordinary shareholder meeting to vote on an increase. It's just about flexibility. For example, for us in Japan, the rule is authorized shares can only be 4x outstanding shares. As such, Metaplanet has increased authorized shares twice this year, from 22.8 million to 65 million, and from 65 million to 145 million. Both instances required us to call an EGM, Extraordinary General Meeting of Shareholders. This is all that MSTR is doing, but they have no limit, so they're just getting it out of the way for a long time. This does not necessarily mean shares outstanding or fully diluted count are increasing It just gives the board flexibility and breathing room. It absolutely makes sense to just increase it once and not have to worry about it again. Remember back to point one, if it's not increasing BTC value per share, the treasury team won't pursue it. That's the entire point of reporting the BTC yield KPI. If the accretive nature of the MSTR capital plan is rubbing you the wrong way, you either need to broaden your time horizon or you are in the wrong trade. Here's a simple idea. Let Saylor cook. End. Merry Christmas.
Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why do they collect taxes? I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not. It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing, paper backed with paper, a bubble that will inevitably burst. The situation is even worse than it seems, because if most Americans and the rest of the world were to become aware of this farce, confidence in your currency would be lost, the dollar would fall, and the Western civilization with it.
MicroStrategy has already won for the next 1,000 years. They have 2% of the supply of Bitcoin already. They might be able to get to 3, maybe 4%. And none of these models, none of these critics that are breaking it down are thinking in terms of fiat ending. What happens if the dollar just ceases to exist in 10, 20 years? What does that mean exactly? That means everything is denominated in Bitcoin. And I think that's the biggest fallacy here. Let's just say we have dollar sat parity, 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. Then the market cap of Bitcoin would be $2.1 quadrillion. And if MicroStrategy has 2% of that, they're already valued at $42 trillion. Again, the models are not factoring this in, but there's a lot of lost coins out there. The real market cap of MicroStrategy could be something like 84 trillion, 100 trillion. We don't know yet. They've kind of won already. This is a finite asset, and they have a huge chunk of this finite asset forever.
And there you have it, my friends. Another episode of MicroStrategy Today. Once again, Merry Christmas to those that celebrate Christmas. Happy December 25th to those that don't. Again, let's switch on back to my request for a gift right here, which is a follow on MicroStrategy Today's Twitter handle, MicroStrategy, right there, MicroStrategy. Let's see, I have 423 followers right now. Let's get that over 500 by tomorrow, my friends. I would love that. Remember, nothing that we share is financial advice, so do your own research. And before we sign off, I just want to give another thanks to our sponsor, NordVPN. Protect your personal online identity. Protect your family's online identity for a few bucks a month. They have a Christmas special now. Support this channel by supporting NordVPN. The affiliate link that I have is right in the show notes page below. And as Michael Saylor says, there is no second best.